Okay. All right. Hey everyone. Can you hear me okay? I think so. Okay. Just set this up. All right. Should be working. All right. So, hey everyone. Thank you for joining me. All right. So this is a bit of a different thing. So let's see how this one goes. Okay, lots of comments already. Let's see if there's no chaos during this live stream. Let's see, it should be interesting. Okay. All right, let me just check my notes. So, essentially the goal here is I'm trying to make a nice Tetris-like inventory system. So I figured, well, if I'm going to make it, I might as well do it on live stream and then try to edit the video around that. So it's going to be interesting, do something a bit different. Right, so if I can open this, just in case you don't know what it is. So it's essentially the inventory from Resident Evil 4. So this is the kind of thing that I'm going to try to make. So this sort of thing, you got a bunch of items, you got a grid on the inventory, and you got to essentially rotate them around in order to place all the items. So that's sort of the goal here. So let's see how it goes. The items, yeah, they are rectangular only. I was initially thinking about doing it really in Tetris, so having some L blocks and something like that. But from what I see, all of the games that I've seen, so essentially Resident Evil is one of them. Then there's also Escape from Tarkov, also has pretty much the exact same thing. And again, it's all pretty much just squares and rectangles, so I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. Another one that I remember is from Commandos. Really awesome game. So essentially all of these inventory systems, yep, that's pretty much what I'm going to try to build. Okay, so I've got a couple of notes here. So I actually got this live stream less planned out than the other ones, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so essentially I'm going to use scriptable objects, make a bunch of classes, grab and rotate the items, transform them into a backpack, make some stackable mounts, and yeah, should be interesting. Oh, the Subnautica used. I still haven't played Subnautica, so no idea. Factorio modular armors? Really? Well, turns out a lot of games use it. Okay, so now in order to do this, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, you might be imagining, oh hey, super chat, thank you, nice. Rogério, nice to be here. All right, so essentially as you might, oh, I gotta actually make them a bit smaller so I can touch the buttons. So as you might imagine, for something like this, I'm going to be once again reusing the super awesome grid system that I've used in so many videos now. So for example, what I've got here is from the house building system. So this whole thing, it was made in a previous video. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a really awesome system. It's a really nice video. So I can make a whole house. And actually the NPCs, they just go through some fixed places, so they're not gonna quite work out here. But where's the door? A nice door, just put it in there. Don't I have a character? Yep, I've got my character, so I can move it around and go inside the door. Yeah, so this is essentially the last system that I made using the grid system. So now once again, I will be reusing the grid system in order to make, in this case, a Tetris inventory. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, does Diablo have it as well? Huh, I don't remember. Now it's not just having items in a grid. It's more like being able to position them individually in that grid so that you can position all kinds of things. Okay, so first of all, let me go into my inventory, and the only thing that I've prepared is pretty much just a whole bunch of items. So this is what I'm going to be using. So essentially got a sword, so a nice rectangular thing, then a bunch of small squares and some more rectangles and some big ones. So it's going to be pretty interesting to get this all done. Now, of course, the first thing that I need to do is essentially make my grid system work on the UI, since this is going to be a UI element. So, well, let's see, how do I do this? Okay, so first of all, keep things nice and organized. So folder to hold my scripts. And now let's make something. So again, yeah, this one is definitely less planned than my usual live stream. So yeah, let's see if this is going to go well. So we shall see. I'll make another course in Udemy. Well, eventually, sure, but I just finished the other one, so now I'm really trying to make some interesting videos. I've got tons of very interesting videos all queued up, a bunch of them already recorded, already written, so yep, now going to handle that. Face reveal, who knows, maybe one day. Maybe one day. Okay, where was I? So, inventory Tetris. Let's name this. And since I'm going to be using the exact same thing, so let's think, how am I going to handle this? So the first question, well, I can just go and see, for example, over here, I've got the house building system. So I can essentially see how I handle this. So as usual, just create a grid, or actually the grid building system itself. The grid building system, that's the main thing. Can you work with interface? Yeah, interfaces are awesome. So if there's a use, yep. Okay, so that's not what I want. Okay. All right, so let's go with a simple private void awake. And on awake, let's create, first of all, just a grid. Actually, well, now that I think about it, should I start off with just a basic grid, or maybe start off from the grid building system? Probably should go for the grid building system. So let's see how I handle this. So I got a bunch of placed objects. So yeah, I'm probably going to expand upon this one instead of trying to build the whole thing from scratch. So yeah, because I got my placed objects. Yeah, I got the grid and things. So yeah, I'll probably start over from here instead of having to redo all of this. As always, being able to reuse code is the best option that you have if you want to be a successful indie game developer, essentially. You have to be able to be insanely productive, and being able to actually reuse some code is a great way to do that. Okay, so yeah, essentially let me start off directly from there instead of trying to create an inventory Tetris. Then of course, if you decide you want to do things differently, you can always do them later on. So let me just go and yep, start off directly from down. So let's call this the inventory Tetris. And let me drag down here just so things are nice and organized. And of course, got a bunch of errors, so let's fix this. So, crap, I gotta disable that. Inventory Tetris. And same thing here, make systems. So grid building, no more references. Okay, good. How do you make these little people? Well, I cover them. Well, for the people themselves, they are animated essentially using a mesh animation system. So if you search on my channel for mesh animation, you'll find the video where I cover how the animation system works. And if you search for a video on transparency, transparent Unity window, you'll also find how I made this, because this is essentially a Unity window right on top of my desktop. It's really nice, really interesting. Okay, so let's think for this. So I make grid, let's start off just 5 by 5. And I'm going to want to make it actually enable show debug. Okay, just so I can use it. Oh, and actually that's going to be interesting now that I think about it. Trying to think of what changes do I need in order to make the grid system work on the UI instead of making it work on the world. Yeah, okay, this is a good starting point, so let's try to, nope, not that, that one. All right, so right in here, let me get rid of all of these. I don't need any of these, so just make a new one for the inventory Tetris. And drag the inventory Tetris, and yeah, just reset, and so far nothing. So just like this, is it gonna give me an error? Maybe. Super chat, yeah, the super chat is manual. Actually, yeah, there you go. I haven't done the live stream in quite a while, so thank you for the super chat. It's always interesting. Okay, so essentially it is working, but now I'm trying to think of what do I need to make different in order for the in order to make this work on the inventory instead of the thing. I'm trying to think of what did I make on the grid building system that was specific to the thing. And I don't think there's much to it, because essentially it's got an X and a Y position, so that can be a world coordinate or a canvas coordinate. Doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is really just over here in order to test for the mouse clicks. So get the X and Y of a certain position, and then get that one. So yeah, pretty much. Now I do think that the main issue that I'm going to have is with the debug. The debug really does assume get the world position. So that's actually going to be tricky. I hadn't thought of this problem. Because right now if I run this, it is working. So I've got my grid. There you go. There's my grid. So it is working. But I want it to be on the canvas instead of in here. Or first of all, let's just handle things as they are normal and then worry about putting it on the canvas. Okay. So actually, yeah, let's start from that just so I don't waste too much time thinking. That's actually the thing about being on a live stream, is I don't want to make it too boring for the people watching. So let's go and first of all make this a orthographic camera. Let me just disable the post-processing because right now don't need it. And for the main camera, let's just reset it. Oh crap, am I using Cinemachine? I am. Okay, so just get rid of that and just put the camera on transform, put it on a Z of -10. Touch my... Okay. Alright, so just like this, it should be showing up a bit on the corner. Yeah, exactly. I got those on top, but yeah. How long it's been streaming? Well, I just started like 10 minutes ago, so definitely haven't missed much. Okay. Now, yeah, let me just hide those just so it doesn't show up. Hey, hi from India. It's nice. All right. So here I've got a 2D thing, and later on, by the way, let's just get rid of the... So let me go into the lighting tab. Just a quick tip, I guess, if you don't know where you change the skybox. So you just go into the lighting tab, so go into window, then appear into rendering, lighting, then into the environment. Just click on it and press delete, and there you go, no skybox. So things are no longer, yeah, there you go. I've got a nice grid, enable gizmos, there you go. Let me just move the camera a bit to the side, just make it a bit more interesting. So just gonna move it in there. Another quick tip, did you know that you can right click in order to copy component values? Or I guess in this case, in the new Unity version, you can now just copy the position itself. So just copy that one, and then maybe that one did 45. So just paste this one, and over here, paste the position. And there you go, how nice. All right, so there's my grid. So first of all, let me try to create just the items, just the visual for them. And again, then later on, I'll worry about converting it from a world system into a UI system. Make sure that everything is still working. What are you going to make today? Trying to make a inventory Tetris system. Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted trying to think of everything that I need to do. Okay, so let me make, I'm going to need to make a scriptable object, but just first of all, make a folder. So for the item scriptable objects are always excellent for actually making things, for actually storing a bunch of things. So let's make it of placed object type, or actually I'm going to reuse it. So let's see, I've got the placed object type SO. Let's just see how I made it on the grid building system. Did I just use the placed objects? Actually, I might have used just those. That's interesting. But for the house building system, let me just see how I made the floor placed object. Yep, I just expanded a placed object. All right. Now I'm trying to remember the architecture that I made. So Huh. All right, so I did that essentially. Okay. Okay, so let's go. Now the problem is that I probably already have something called an item SO here. So instead let me make the item Tetris, just because it's an easy name, item Tetris SO. And let me open it up. And over here I'm going to expand, crap, I really got to disable this. The placed object type SO. Okay, so it's going to be of type, placed object type. So just with that, the placed object type then itself is a scriptable object. So I can now create a scriptable object. And with this one as a base, I already have the name string, the prefab, the visual, the width, and the height. So it's already going to be super useful. Let's just finish compiling. And item SO, just go create a new one. Do I got an error? Nope. Did I put it inside a folder? Did I not give it a name? Oh, right, never mind. Yeah, of course, I've got to add the create access menu, because just making it a scriptable object, it won't show up in there. All right, yes. Okay, so now right click and now I should be able to see the item Tetris SO. Okay, so let's begin simple. Let's make it perhaps a shotgun. So just start with that one. So over here, fill in the fields. Say shotgun. And for the transform into visual, yeah, that's going to be okay. So let's start off by just making just one. So placed, yep, just put my shotgun. Why is everything looking a bit slow? I'm actually not sure. It's a bit strange. Okay, sure. All right, so starting off with a shotgun, now let me go in here and let me just pre-place it by default. So let's make just a private void start. Make sure I don't have a start. Yeah, nope, okay, good. Okay, so here, let me just add a placed object type. So just see how did I handle this. Essentially going on the can build, testing if I can build. Yeah, sure. So yeah, just placed object, create on the thing. Okay. All right, so let's start off just by testing. I gotta say, spending time to actually read through the code is a bit more intense while on the, what's the first one? The first one is the warp position. It's a bit more intense. It's going over my head. It's okay, it's on the final video, it will all be much easier to follow. So this essentially I'm doing like this. So let's make it just that. Start off. Okay, I really gotta disable that. Okay, and the placed object type, let me place just the first one. Okay, so placing the object. Now I just need to give the object a visual. So I'm creating just a new folder for all the items. And now let me create in here. I'm going to create it based on objects in the world, then later on actually worry about making them into UI objects. So like this, and I believe 1010 was the thing. So let me select, actually I shouldn't start with, probably start with the ammo because it's a square one. So that's going to be interesting. So let's call this the PF ammo visual. So just put inside, this is the sprite. Make sure that it's on 000 and on the parent, okay, leave it like that. Where are you from? I'm from Portugal. And why are the... I don't know, it's messages. Okay, sure. Alright, so the ammo visual, let's turn this into a prefab. Let's rename this instead of shotgun. Just make it the ammo, and then on the name string, just an ammo, and then just drag the visual reference. And then another prefab. And this one is going to be for the PF ammo. Probably should be called ammo item, but sure. So just the PF ammo, and inside I got the visual, just separating the visual from the logic. That's always very useful. Can you please not spam? I can't really keep track of everything. I'm just one person here, so please help me. Alright, okay. So I've got the ammo. Inside I've got the ammo visual. Now let me just fill these in. So put the prefab there, the thing in there, and this one has a 1x1. About fixing slope movement when using a rigid body. Well, that depends on what you mean by slope movement. The easiest way is to use the actual rigid body and just use force, but then of course you're going to have a lot of issues. So if you want the perfect thing, you really have to manually handle doing the raycast and actually positioning it. So you do a raycast down, and then you see where it lands on the slope, and then you actually move the rigid body upwards. So you can't just do add force horizontally and hope that it moves upwards. You have to handle it moving it upwards by yourself, essentially. Will the full video be available later? Yes, the live stream will be recorded, and more importantly, this whole thing will then be turned into a proper video later on. Okay. So, what error did I have? I gotta look through the people. Did I not set it? I did set it. The ammo, and the ammo does have those. Oh, right. I think it's just because it doesn't have the... Ah, crap. Too many windows. Yeah, right. The issue is that... if I go here... Yeah, exactly. You get components. So it has to have a placed object on the logic. So let me just go into the logic and just add the placed object, which I think it doesn't really do anything. Nope. Really just that just has a placed object type and an origin. So yeah, essentially just have to. Okay. So yeah, I gotta say this live stream is actually being a bit more tricky. Trying to remake code is a bit trickier than writing it from scratch. So I'll keep that in mind for the next live stream. Are you making an inventory for a Tetris spinoff? No, I'm trying to make a... Well, I guess I should have the window open here. So essentially, this is what I'm trying to build. So essentially making an inventory where you've got a bunch of items. You have to rotate them in order to place them on a limited position. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to build here. Okay, so just like this, I've got one already. So for example, I can now place another one. Ooh, and actually the world position, that's the tricky thing. Because again, I'm dealing with, well, actually, it's not that tricky. Because in theory, I can just go into the grid, get the world position for the 1, 1, 0, yeah, sure. Then the origin, I actually don't remember. What was the origin? Oh, no, yeah, of course. The origin is where it's placed on the thing, right? Trying to think. Yep, we're using code. It is awesome, but it does take quite a bit of thinking time to remember something that you made quite a while ago. So... yeah, exactly. The origin is the grid position, right? It's been like 2 months since I last dealt with this code, so yeah, now I'm trying to get all of this sorted. Alright, so yeah, essentially like this, I should be able to have 2 ammos, one next to the other. Right, and actually, because I just installed, so let me just go into preferences. Just being able to go, where's my compilation? Yeah, right. Stop playing and recompile. No, I want to recompile after finished playing. That's always makes more sense than just recompiling automatically. What all programming languages do you know? Way too many. I don't know. I've dealt with C#, written a bit of C and C++, obviously quite a lot of PHP, HTML, sure. When I was making Flash, I started on ActionScript 2.0, then ActionScript 3. When I was a kid, the first thing that I learned was IRC scripting. So yeah, quite a lot of them. A const member variable for the origin. No, the origin is just where you click. So actually right now, if I click, I should be able to place them down, or maybe not. And on the... Okay, so let me try to go one thing at a time. Okay, so essentially I got the mouse button down and placed object type. Right, if it's not selected, then that is kind of the tricky thing. So right now I just have one. So if I select it, now it should work. Can't understand the thing, but I'm enjoying. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying. It will be much more understandable in the final video. Okay, so yeah, if I press 1 in order to select, now I can place down some ammo. Look at that, how interesting. And I cannot build here, cannot build here, cannot build here. All right, so yeah, I gotta say that was a bit of a tricky 30 minutes to get this working, but yep, now I got the basics working. Make a third-person shooter video. I actually would like to do that. Actually, if you don't know, Unity has just released a really nice standard assets, a free asset pack with a really nice third-person camera view. So if you want to do a third-person shooter, then I suggest you look into it. So go into the asset store and look for the official Unity assets, and you'll find one of the last ones. It's very useful. Okay, so just like this, right now I've got that one being placed. And actually, right now, it should already have so I can place down some ammo. Can I rotate it? I can rotate it. So I don't have a ghost, but I can rotate it. So actually, just like this, I can now probably just start placing all the other ones. Okay, so let's do that. Just rename this. Now, which ones did I make? Let's go. Okay, so for example, I got the pistol visual, then I've got the rifle visual, and I've got the shotgun visual. Then I've got, okay, I can see them. Como obter gráficos melhores? Well, that's really going to depend on your assets and what you're trying to do. Good graphics is essentially a very subjective thing. Did you all see the video on the highlights from E3 2021? Like, for example, the Replace game. Damn, that looks awesome. It's in pixel art, so I'm sure some people don't like it, but wow, it looks really gorgeous. Some pixel art with some really nice 3D world. It does look very impressive. I can't wait to try that game in order to just experiment and see how they achieve that. Because it doesn't look great. Okay, so put that one. So I'm just trying to... And actually then... Well, I don't need the PF thing in the middle. Okay, so just grenade. Let me just create all the visuals. So the grenade visual, yeah, I did set up the corners already, so that's pretty easy. Okay, so the medkit visual, and then let's go inside the pistol visual and the rifle visual. So Unreal 5. Yeah, sure. Maybe one day whenever I have the time, maybe I'll give Unreal 5 a shot. Oh, hey, super chat. Thank you. Did you do a tutorial going over how you made your conveyor belt system in more detail? Seems highly useful. I'm not sure, cause well, I mean, you can download the project files for the what did I make? The factory sim. You can download those to see how they work. But making a dedicated video, I think that would be a very specific thing. But who knows, maybe I'll do a live stream going through it and trying to explain how the whole thing works. Because it is really interesting, and I would like to sorry, just distracted a bit. I would like to try to expand on that a bit more. I love factory games, so would be interesting to expand upon that, but yeah, making a dedicated video just on that one, I'm not too sure. Essentially, the problem is always the same. The problem is I've got way too many interesting ideas, so figuring out if I've got time to do all of them, that is always the issue. There's no, oh crap, this one is wrong. There's no lack of ideas. I've got way too many things that I want to do, not enough time to do them. That's tricky. Why didn't you use prefab variants? That's a very good question. And the answer is, yep, I definitely should have. But, you know, you can always fix that later. The answer is simply because when I started using Unity, there was no such thing as prefab variants. So I just got used to making duplicate prefabs. But, yep, definitely in here, the right course of action would indeed to make some prefab variants. So, yep. But again, that's always something that you can change. So it's not really a problematic mistake. But yeah, good eye. Thanks for noticing that. Okay, so almost done setting all of these up. So once all of these are set up, then I should be able to place them all and rotate them. So let's see. I actually don't know if all the visuals are correct, but we shall see. Okay, so got that one. Damn, I made a bit way too many items. Trying to sort all these out. So shotgun, then I've got a rifle, then I've got a pistol, got a med kit, and a grenade. Anything else? No, I think those are it. Okay, so now in the inventory Tetris, let me just add all of those. So at the grenade, let me just lock this. So here's another quick tip, just in case you don't know, you can click on there in order to unlock the inspector. Well, actually, first unlock it, select this one, now lock it, now click, select multiple objects, and just drag all of them onto the array. Very nice, very easy. Okay, remember those assets from Survival Squad? Yep, that's exactly it. I made that game in, when was it? 2013. So here I am now, 8 years later, reusing those same assets. Yeah, it's awesome. Have I considered joining a AAA company? Well, not really, just because, well, there's not many AAA companies over here in Portugal. So even if I wanted, I think that would involve relocating to a different country. So yeah, I think I might as well just stick to doing my own thing, which I really enjoy. You know, I can just do anything that I want to, anything I want, I can do it. Hey, Brazil, nice. Okay, so why did that not work? Trying to think. Did I modify the placed object type? Nope. Oh crap, I really gotta disable that. I got the Build Defender course. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. That's still a really nice game. I really like doing that. It's also another thing that if eventually I have the time, I'd love to expand upon it, make some lectures on how to add new items, new enemies, new things. Oh, right. Never mind. Yeah, this is all working. I just forgot to modify this, of course. Oh, of course. Need slow mode or something. Well, can you please, if you say something, just say it once. Don't post it. And if you want to ask a question, just ask and maybe I'll see it. Because I'm just one person here, so I'm trying to work, trying to keep track of chat. It's a bit chaotic. Okay, so let me just modify all of these. Then the medkit. So let's put the medkit visual, then the pistol. So let me grab the pistol visual, the pistol transform. Then finally the rifle. So grab the rifle. Ah, crap, that's wrong. What did I drag? No, got it right. I gotta say, doing this live certainly adds quite a bit more stress. No, don't replace. All right, so the shotgun and the shotgun visual. Okay. So now obviously the issue that I'm missing is still the width and height. So I gotta remember, okay, so the ammo is a 1x1. All right, now the grenade has 2 units. So the grenade is 1x2. Then let's see the medkit. The medkit is 2x2. So medkit is 2x2. Then for the pistol, also 2x2. And what's else? The rifle. What is the rifle? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5x2. So on the rifle, not this one, this one, it's a 5x2. And finally the shotgun. Where's the shot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5x2. I'm actually missing the katana, but okay, I'll handle that in a bit. So also a 5x2. Okay, so like this. Now let's see if it shows up. Okay, so press 1, post some ammo. Press 2, put that one. Why does that say ammo? I actually don't know. Ooh, now that, ah, crap. There you go, some nice errors. Always fun, always fun. So what's the error? Well, it's probably due to the can you build thing. Yes, for anyone asking what I'm doing, I'm making an inventory system. Here, I've got a tab open, trying to remake something like this. Okay, so got an error. I really got to speed up the text writer so I can actually, because I got to look on the other side in order to see the questions. So yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the medkit. Yeah, it's on the prefabs. I put them on the wrong position. So essentially, the visuals they need to be at 0, 0. Look at this. It's not at 0, 0. That's why it's messed up. So the grenade, that one's on 0, 0. The ammo, that one's on 0, 0. Anything else? Medkit is good. The pistol, nope, 0, 0, 0. Next up, the rifle, also on 0, 0, 0. And the shotgun, and put it also on 0, 0, 0. Okay, like PoE, is that Path of Exile? I don't know if that has this sort of thing or not, but there you go. Oh crap, I'm still having the... I mean, it's not an error, it's the whole can build thing, so... Well, I mean, I guess it is an error, because I gotta validate the position. It's kind of interesting. I did add this on the house building system, didn't I? The validate, the is valid position. Yeah, I did first validate it before actually trying. I go into the grid, is a valid grid position. Why don't you use the dark theme? Because dark theme burns my eyes. Path of Exile style skill tree. That's actually interesting. I've never played it, but I did watch some videos and the skill tree does look quite interesting. So yeah, I'd love to research that and see how that's handled. Okay, so essentially the can build, I just do that, because that's the issue that I'm having there, is that I'm trying the can build, so I try to go, but before I try to build, I get the grid position list, I go into the can build, then I try to see is valid grid position, and apparently I implemented that on the grid XZ class, but not on the grid class, so let me just go here and just make that one, and let me just go down here. Is valid grid position, there's no Z here, it's just X and Y. So for the inventory Tetris, down here, just make sure that this code is all working. Okay, so you go into the grid, check if this grid position is valid. Oh, and I also had the padding. That one is interesting, but we'll see it later. Okay, if it's not valid, then can build equals false. Then here, I just run this. If can build is still true, otherwise this one is still gonna cause an error. So like this, it should not have that error. Yeah, I mean, people have different eyes. Some people, they say that white theme burns their eyes. For me, the dark theme, essentially if my eyes try to focus on these tiny letters whilst they're in white and everything else is in black, it really messes up my eyes. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and post, and no longer got an error. Okay, that's awesome. Now, obviously, I need a... I should probably make this bigger just for testing, but yep. See, look at that. Just by reusing code, I already got something very basic here. Okay, the funniest chat overlay. That's nice. Okay, let me just make this just a bit bigger just so I have a bit more space for testing. So let's put it maybe 10 by 10. And yeah, I'm going to need the ghost, so that's going to be also okay. So I place that one, and essentially I want to test that one. So I press rotate, and I can rotate all the items. So look at that, it already works. I can place down a pistol, and this one, there you go, a rifle, really big. I still got to change the name because that's obviously not ammo, but that's just a text and a shotgun. And do I got anything else? I got the med kit. There you go. All right, so as you can see, the basics are there. So essentially I got a grid. I can now place it on top of other things, and I can place wherever I want. I can rotate and do things. All right, so in just about 40 minutes, already got a nice base here. Thank you, your videos helped me. Well, I'm glad the videos helped. That's what I'm trying to do with this channel, so thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, doing this live does make it 100 times harder, so Okay. Especially, I gotta say, I thought that maybe reusing code, making a system that is built upon another system, I thought that would be easier. Well, it turns out it's actually quite a bit harder. So I'll definitely... Can you rotate the guns? I can. The only issue is that right now I don't have the ghost visual. So when I rotate, it's kind of hard to... But yeah, they rotate. So that's the whole point. In order to place them, then you can place ammo all over here. And there you go. That's the whole thing. Okay, so first let me just modify that one. You ever made an online game? I did make some online modes. So Survivor Squad, it has an online mode, but yeah, it's definitely not the best since it's my first attempt at it. Online is very tricky. I would definitely not encourage people to try to do something online as soon as they start. It's a very tricky thing, very difficult to get right. But nowadays there's a lot more tools for it. So with some good tools, you can definitely make it work a bit better. So another thing that I'd love to research whenever I have the time is the ML API that Unity has just bought. So that one seems like it's pretty easy to use, so eventually when I have the time, I'd love to do some research on that. Yeah, networking is really hard. Someone asked something. Oh yeah, right. Totally forgot, but I can manually show messages as well. Or I think I can. But I don't. Where's the thing? Oh, there you go. That's the thing. What am I doing? Sorry. Okay, pistol rifle. I'm changing the names right now. Can you help me understand the code? Well, it's best to probably watch videos in your own time. Trying to learn from a live stream is quite tricky, so live streams are just a bit of fun. So if I spawn, so right now that should be... Okay, so there you go. Now that's a grenade, that's a med kit, that's a pistol, and now I can't even fit the rifle, but I can fit that one, and now the shotgun, and there you go. Look at that. That's really nice. Firebase, that's another thing that a bunch of people have have talked about, but I've never used it, so no idea, but lots of interesting stuff. Hey, Carlson, when is that one coming out? Poor Danny, he must be feeling so much stress. So many people constantly asking him when the game's coming out. Yeah. Okay, let me stop and think for a moment. Where you have the sprites? Well, I made them for my game Survivor Squad, which was made back in 2013. So here I am, 8 years later, reusing the same sprites. Super useful. Okay, so what's the next thing that I need? Ooh, now that's gonna be the tricky thing. Because now I'm thinking that, right, the problem... let me think about this. Because essentially the whole thing is you have to click and drag some items. So essentially that means that I'm going to have to right now convert the grid system to work on the canvas instead of in the world. So, right, I'm trying to think about this. Do you think the REST API is a good choice to serve inventory items in multiplayer games? I'm not sure. Actually, the REST API, that one for, I guess it depends on how fast your engines are, how fast the actions are. If you got something in real time, then using a REST API wouldn't make much sense. But if you got something that is turn-based on some long turns, then yeah, maybe REST is a valid course of action. Not too sure. As always, multiplayer is very dependent on a specific thing. Okay, so let me think. So I've got my grid. It's actually, the grid is not XZ. This is just named Z, but it's really just a Y. It's run like that. Okay, so I gotta say this is tricky. It's tricky to think in real time whilst being live, because essentially the problem is that I made this whole thing. Now the grid class doesn't care about, you know, if it's a world thing or an inventory thing. So the tricky part is all in here, because the grid does not care. Just has the mouse position, the X, Y. Trying to think of how would I do this, because I don't need the mouse wheel position. The streaming layout, well, I don't know, I guess that could be an interesting video. I mean, it's mainly just the characters, everything else is just using OBS, so yeah, I don't know, maybe. And just in case you haven't seen it, hey, there you go, here's my control window for controlling all the characters here, so I can make them really tiny. There you go, make them bigger and bigger. I can go into the names and see all the people that show up. I can look at a bunch of questions that people have asked. I can look at a bunch of messages. So look at a bunch of messages and then manually approve them, and there you go, they show up. Then I can enable or disable auto messages. So this was something that was very necessary on the last one when the stream descended into chaos. Essentially, I had to disable the whole thing because people started using things with a whole bunch of rich text tags, and the whole thing became quite messy. So yeah, and a poll. Let's go with a poll. Dogs or cats? Let's see which one wins. I think last time cats won. I don't remember. There you go. Create a poll. Dogs or cats? So there you go. Vote in chat while I take some time to think. No man the avatar. Yeah, eventually, again, whenever I have the time, I would very much like to add the customization so that each person can go and customize it. Nope, these tags no longer work. So if you try to break this, nope, no longer happens. So there you go. Okay. All right, now I should probably vote myself. And of course, I'm gonna vote for dogs. Okay, so let me take some time to think about this. Well, I mean, the main thing is on the placed object. When I create a placed object, that I'm instantiating a prefab, instantiating on a world position. Okay, let me try to think. Essentially, I'm going to need a placed object on the UI. Let me try to see how the canvas is set up, because the canvas works very differently. Look at that, 18 to 11. You just say vote and then the number. Damn, my voice is already quite a bit dry. Words of advice. Yep, start small. That's pretty much it. That's the best advice anyone can give. Just start small and do something. Okay, so trying to think about the problem, and well, this is the issue. The issue is that when I create a placed object, I'm instantiating a prefab, which by itself, the prefabs are not canvas prefabs. Alright, I gotta say, I did not anticipate this problem. Nope, I did not. Because yeah, right now there's the placed down some ammo, some grenades, some things. So the basics are working. Well, let me see how did I make the ghost. I can probably implement the ghost right now. So, well, let's try to do that in the meantime. So item Tetris ghost. Even though actually the ghost might not be necessary once I add the drag and drop. What's easier, videos or streams? Well, videos are much easier because I don't have to think in real time. So that does make things quite a lot easier. It's better to use a canvas or using a web view. Not sure what you mean by web view. So I'm trying to do the item Tetris ghost. So let's go instead of building ghost 2D. Now instead of going into that one, you go into that one. And actually just like this, it might already be working. Does that one not have an instance? Really? Oh, not the ghost. the inventory Tetris. So the inventory Tetris, just replace all of these with that one. And actually just like this, it should already be working. Yep, lots of copy pasting. Well, it always depends if you know what you are copy pasting. Actually, well, I think it should be working, but just need this, create an empty, just add the object onto it, just reset to keep things nice and clean. Yeah, the chat is not distracting during a... Oh, there you go. I've got my really nice ghost. Pretty basic, but it works. So there you go. I can place some ammo in there. Then place a grenade in here, another in here, some more ammo in there. Then maybe a pistol in here, another in there, and a rifle in there, another one there. And, oh crap. And a bunch more in here, and there you go. So as you can see, the logic does work. So now the only issue is going to be that one. Well, I gotta say that one is going to be a pretty tricky thing. So, well, I'm trying to think, do I try to go through all of that during the live stream or just do it later? The rotation of the ghost. Yep, that's just some basic interpolation, but even though it's basic, it still looks pretty great. I can actually show the ghost. So there you go. It's just using vector3.lerp and quaternion.lerp. Super easy to add that smooth rotation and movement, and it does look great. So it's something very simple and it works. And look at that, dogs are winning. How nice. Okay. All right, so I guess if I don't convert into the canvas right now, I should at least just try to pick them up and drop them. So let me go, if I select the 0, I think that selects a null, right? Yes, exactly. So let me just try to grab and move them. Just try to handle that. So, okay, let's see. So if the placed object type SO, if it is null, then I have nothing selected. Why don't you use tweening? Well, just because I don't want to use a whole entire library just to do something very simple. So in this case, just using interpolation works perfectly fine. But yes, if I use it in a final game, then I would use something like, what was it? Lean Tween Pro. I think that's the one. I don't know. There's lots of awesome tweening libraries. Okay, so if it is null, then I want to try to, well, let me first try to identify what did I click on. So if I go through that one and try to identify. See, now I'm trying to think. So, I'm trying to think, how did I handle that? So on the edge placement, right, because you get the floor edge place position and then you place it and so on. Okay, so trying to think, because once again I'm going to have to remake so much of this when I convert this from a world space into a actual canvas. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But like LBP game, I don't know what is an LBP game. Create an inventory. Inventories can come in many shapes and sizes, so it really depends on the specific type of thing that you're doing. Using your own framework. Well, it's not really a framework, it's just a bunch of utilities classes, so got a bunch of useful things. For example, I got a function to get the mouse wheel position. So just a bunch of tiny things like that. You can download the utilities from the website if you want to see them. So essentially the basic things that I use in pretty much all of my projects. So look at that, how to get the default font, create a world sprite, create a world text updater, that's super useful. So yeah, just a bunch of things. So it's really nice, really useful. Essentially the thing that I've been writing those utilities, well, pretty much since I started. So for 8 years I've been building that class and it's real nice, super useful. Okay, so once again, let me try to think. Cause I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Right, yeah, exactly. I go into the grid, I gotta say my brain is not working too well on this live stream. But yeah, of course, in order to identify it, I'm already doing that on the thing itself. So yeah, except in this case, I don't want to demolish. Let me just do a debug.log on the placed object in order to identify it. And then I've got the various grid positions. Yes, of course. 80 years? No, 8. I started working with Unity back in 2013. Actually, it was in December of 2012. It was just after I finished my very last Flash game. Then I wanted to make something for the PC. And at the time, Unity was the only approach. So I got it and I pretty much just stuck with it. And it's been awesome. So yeah, that was back in 2012, 2013. Okay, so if I see this, oh right, it is working except, oh, the console is on the other monitor. So there you go. So if I click, yep, it does fine. It's still grabbing the other one. Where's my update? Where's my update? Where do I get my debug log? There you go. Just get rid so that I can actually see it. Newcomer, hello, welcome. When Unity was Mac only. Yep, exactly. So the first version that was on Windows, I'm pretty sure it was version 3, which is the one that I started with. So essentially I started exactly as Unity went onto Windows. So yeah, it's funny how things work out. For the AAA studio, nope. There are pretty much no AAA studios in Portugal. So my options were to go at it alone or do something else. So obviously I went at it alone. Okay, so over here I can click and I can identify each specific thing. Now let me just try to handle some logic just for dragging. So I'm trying to think of how I'm going to handle this. I'm going to really need to refactor a ton of this code. So now let's just make it quick and dirty and then clean it up. So just a basic enum for the state, a super basic state machine. So let's say normal or dragging. And then obviously a field private state. So up here on awake, let's begin with state.normal. Okay, then let me just go down here on the update and let's do simple switch on state and then case state.normal. Then I'm going to do what I was doing and case state.dragging. Then I'm going to handle some dragging logic. So let's go grab this one, put them on there. And okay, it's all good. And then if I am dragging, so when I click on something, essentially I want to drag it. Later on, I'm going to actually make some proper click and drag. But for now, yeah, I've got the placed object. So let me just go up here. So I got the state, so private placed object, the drag object or drag placed object. And so down here, as soon as I click on it, I'm going to do the drag placed object to this placed object, just to select it so that I know, and then change the state to go into state.dragging. Okay, so then when I'm dragging, essentially I want to listen for mouse clicks again. So I'm going to listen to an input get mouse button down here. So if input.get mouse button down, on the left mouse button, as soon as I click, then I want to essentially drop the item on the new position. So I'm going to reset the state back into normal. And how am I going to do that? Okay, that's a good question. Because the issue, of course, is that it goes into that. Yep, exactly, the clear placed object. Right, so I can actually do that now that I think about it. Yeah, exactly. So it's easier than I thought, I think. So first of all, I need to get the grid position list for the object, and the object is the drag placed object. So I get that object, I get the grid position. So these are all the positions on the grid that are being occupied by this object. And then, ooh, that's a good question. I actually gotta got an issue with regards to how I'm going to validate, but sure, for now, let's just do that. And then essentially I'm going to build it on the new position. Right, so once again, I'm gonna have to rework all of this. But yes. Essentially, I'm going to place it all over again, and I'm going to place it on the... Ah, crap, I really gotta disable that. That one. Do I gotta get world position? I actually don't know. On the placed object. Mouse button up. Well, that depends if you want to move it when you let go or when you click on the mouse. Personally, I think it always much more responsive to handle the click down rather than up. So that's why I tend to go for that one. Okay, so what do I got on this one? Right, I got the get grid position. So I go into this guy, dot get the grid position. And then for the world position, so vector 3 for the world position, because I'm pretty sure I need to calculate it. I don't have it here, do I? Nope, I do not. So the world position, going to the drag placed object, actually going to the grid first. The grid dot get the world position, drag placed object dot get the grid position. So I get that world position, then I put it in there. Usually participate in game jams. Nope, not really. Just because there's not enough time. That is always the issue. Game jams, they are fun, but essentially they take a whole weekend or a whole week. So being able to have that kind of time to dedicate to such a thing, it's always quite a bit tricky. So yeah, I quite like the idea, but right, this is wrong. So yeah, I quite like the idea, but finding time to do them is very tricky. So I don't normally do game jams just because of that. So, oh right, because I need to get the placed object origin. Alright, so essentially I go through there and I clear item from previous position and then place item on new position, just to be able to move it. So I need to get the mouse position. I get the X and Y, I create a placed object origin. So this is actually the world position that I'm going to be using. It's this new one. So .x, .y. And then here go into that position and into the new grid position, not into the same one. I gotta say, writing code while on the live stream is quite tricky. Okay, so do that instead of going through the grid position list. How was I calculating the grid position list? There you go. You go into that guy and you get that one. So you get the grid position. Working on a new game? Nope, just doing tutorials right now. Why is the text repeating? That's very strange. I've noticed that a bunch of times, but every time someone says something, it seems like the text sometimes repeats. Okay, so that's a bug that I gotta handle. Okay, anyways, let me just deal with this. So I gotta go into the drag placed object in order to get the placed object type, but I don't have that one. Ah, crap. Why don't I have a function to return this? Seems like it would be super useful, but no, apparently I don't. So let me just make this one just very quickly. So public, return this one, so get the placed object type, just because I need the object type. So return the placed object type as so, and then here I can go into get the placed object type as so, dot get the grid position list. Can you do L and T-shaped objects? No, just because all the games that I researched that use this system. So for example, where's my, there it is. So for example, over here, Resident Evil 4, I noticed that all of them are pretty much just rectangular. So I probably won't be implementing that, but yeah, that's definitely something that you can do. So who knows, if the final video is way too short, then maybe I'll try to implement that because it should be rather simple. It's pretty easy to just expand upon it, so it's definitely doable. So we'll see. Okay, so I got the new grid position list, and I'm going to set the placed object on that one. Even though now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, actually I'm not being very smart. My brain is not working. Because yeah, I don't have to create a brand new placed object. So in here I'm creating, I don't know why I'm creating. I have no idea. But because I just need to be able to modify the origin, right? Right. Because that's all this one has. Has an origin and a direction. So I just need to be able to modify this. So for example, a public void set the origin, and I'm going to receive a vector to end for the new origin, and then set this dot origin. Ah crap, this origin equals the new origin. Because that's all I need to do. I need to go into that one in order to set the origin, and the origin will be into the new origin, which is going to be this one, the placed object origin. So essentially I'm going to modify that one. The rotation, yeah, I'm probably not going to handle the rotation right now. So, okay. So I get the placed object origin, so that's a new one. So I get all the grid positions of the new one. Yep, and I filled them up with the new one. So just like this, it should already be working, except again, the issue is that the placed object itself, does this guy have a transform? Or, well, I guess I can move it manually. So the transform dot position equals the world position in order to move it, and then place it, and I'm going to place this one. Okay, so that was a whole lot of work just to do something simple, because again, my brain isn't working too well. So a tutorial related to multiplayer. Yeah, eventually I'd love to, whenever I have time to research the ML API, then yeah, I'd love to do that. Okay, so let's put just some ammo. Okay, there's some ammo in there, and I can get rid of it. Okay, but place down some ammo. And now I want that one. So now if I click, now I should be on drag. Now I click again, and there you go. Okay, awesome. So the logic does work. Now it probably doesn't work if I cannot actually fit it. So if I click to move this one, now I place it in there, and there you go. Now I can move objects. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. Now I just need to validate if I can actually place them. So I'm going to essentially have to validate the new position before I do all of this. Yep. So I'm going to first validate if can drop item in new position. Will it work with L-shaped objects? Nope, not by default, but maybe. It can definitely support that. So I don't know, depending on how complex this is to make, I might include that in the final video or not. So we shall see. But yeah, for now, I'm not implementing that. Okay, so I'm getting that one on the placed object origin. So this is the new origin. And yeah, once again, I'm going to have to refactor all of this code. Thank you for our library. It's really useful. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you enjoy it. It has been very useful to me, so I'm glad to hear it's been very useful to you as well. Okay, so copy pasting a lot of code, so way too much code duplication, but yeah, I'm gonna obviously have to fix that soon. Okay, so get that one, check if it is valid. So if you can build, then try to see if I can build all of them. And finally, if I get down here, so if can build, then I do actually build all of this. And regardless if I can or can't, I go back to the normal state either way. Okay, so clear item from the previous position. So this should be working. Okay, let me try and see. And on new position, so it's really just modifying the origin, modifying new positions, and modifying down. And also the rotation, because I can actually probably implement the rotation as well. It's just kind of hard because there's no right, because I'm gonna have to make the ghost to work with it. So okay, let me just see if this is working. Actually, on the console, let me just go here, debug.log, just make sure that it's all working. State dragging, then dragging the drag placed object, and then something in here, state normal. So I placed this one. Now I clear it up, and the console did not change. Why did you not change? Oh, right, because I didn't select it yet. But yeah, it should be working. So if now I click, yep, now I do see state dragging, and I'm currently dragging some ammo. And now if I drop it in there, and there you go, got an error. What is the error? Oh, right, because I got no placed object type. The SO. Oh, right, the SO. But don't I have that? I do have that. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be of the same type. So that is the issue. So just go to the same type. Get that one. Once again, do that. Why is this one a bit messed up? It seems like my control panel, for some strange reason, isn't really working. What a weird thing. I don't know. Okay. Elbow cough. That's a fun name for a emoji, I guess. Okay, so there's some ammo. So place down some ammo. Then I clear my selected object. Hope my small character can fight others. Well, that's an idea that I've loved to do for a long time. So who knows? Maybe soon. Okay, so now I'm back. Now I click on that one. And yep, now I am dragging some ammo. So now if I click elsewhere, and it, did that not work? I think it did work. Or nope. So why did I not change? You have a tutorial about these characters. Yep, search for a video on mesh animation. That's essentially the core of how this whole thing is work. And I also made a bunch of videos very long time ago for how I made the characters, the sprite sheets for the characters in Battle Royale Tycoon. So if you search for sprite sheet or Battle Royale Tycoon, you'll also find how I handle all of these variations, because these are all just a bunch of simple sprite sheets. So yeah, it's a really awesome system. Okay, so what is the issue here? Why did that one not remove? You cleared the placed object and then you set the new one. Did I not go? Oh, right. Right, because these are new positions, of course. Of course. No, but those are... Okay, now I'm confusing myself. Yes, I get the grid position lists of the drag placed object before it moves. So I get those, I put those in there. But then I've got to calculate the new grid positions. And these are going to be the new ones. So I clear from that one and I place it on that one. Okay. I mean, how do you overlap them on the screen? Look for a video on transparent Unity window on my channel. I made that video quite a while ago, and that's exactly what I've got here. So it's an overlay, it's a Unity window on top of my desktop. That's pretty much all it is. Okay, so click to select. Now I'm dragging some ammo, click, and there you go. I moved some ammo. Now I can drop some more in there. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I can now place a medkit in there, then deselect, go and move it in there. Okay, so that does work. And if I click and I rotate, does it work? And nope, apparently did not work. Am I not? Oh crap. No, it did work, but right, because it needs to offset it based on the rotation. Okay, so I still gotta fix all of that, but okay, so if I select these, yep, this works. I can place this one down and so on. This video will be available to watch. Yep, if you look on the community tab, I won't post the unlisted video for the live stream. Okay, but yeah, like this. The basics are working. Now the really tricky thing is going to be, how do I handle this so that it's, look at that. Because yeah, the basics are indeed working. I cannot place on top of other things. No, that's interesting. The ghost needs to be on top, otherwise it's not visible. But yeah, because all of these are indeed working. So yeah, the basics are working. Now I really gotta figure out how to convert all of this into a canvas system. Right, so that's gonna be a pretty complex thing. So I think I'm going to do that off the live stream, because I gotta say my brain isn't really working right now. So I think that's gonna be it. I gotta say this was much trickier than I thought. When I'll make a multiplayer tutorial, whenever I have the time. So I don't know, gotta do a lot of research. Alright, so yeah, this live stream was definitely a bit more tricky than I was originally anticipating. But still, I hope that if you joined that you found something interesting, maybe learned something else, I don't know. There's also the, I mean, this will eventually turn into a final video. So if you want to learn how this whole thing works, then just stay tuned for the final video. It's obviously going to be much easier to follow than this whole live stream. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it. So thank you all for joining me. I'm sorry if it was a bit too hectic today. I gotta say that I thought that going and reusing a bunch of systems would be a lot easier to do on a live stream, but turns out that when you have to reuse things, it requires a lot of thinking time in order to remember how things worked. So yeah, I gotta say, reusing things does not make for a good live stream. So I guess for the next ones, I'll keep that in mind and probably stick to doing a bunch of tutorials just starting from scratch. So yeah, anyways, it's an experiment. Everything is an experiment, so you'll live and learn, do a bunch of things. All right, so again, yeah, thank you all so much for joining me on this thing. Stay tuned for the final video. It's going to be much easier to follow than this. So yeah, once again, thank you all for joining me. All right, so I'll see you next time.